Hi everyone, and welcome to the background tutorial lesson. And in this lesson we are going to look at some reference that I really like and I think it fits the character. So I have decided to add a moon, and that the atmosphere should be nighttime, something similar to this League of Legends splash art right here. And I also put in other references that we can use. The reason why I added other references also that we can definitely see how warm lighting affects the character in a cool lighting environment. Like so, warm lighting and cool lighting at the bottom. So there's definitely a lot of ways we can tackle on this. And I really like to show skin color. So maybe we will have a slightly daytime kind of lighting, so we can show more of the skin color that we already have rendered on the character. So let's get started. First, we probably need to draw some clouds and how we frame the character with a moon, stuff like that. So let's just put the reference aside. We can pick at them as we go. And before, I believe we have already made some drafts for the background, and it looks like that. It's currently still terrible, but sort of still sort of what I wanted. And maybe we can start with initial blue. Perhaps we can start with like set it as a hard light to add the blue into the background. So perhaps we can also merge this. Remember to merge even the gray background below, because when you have layers with layer property, it tends to become weird when you merge down with opacity. So yeah, be sure to merge them down together. And right now we can just doodle a little bit of value into the entire pieces. So I will set this into like a black and white, and then just look at the value while I work. So we probably want some darkness right here, and we want some darkness below her, and we probably want the moon to glow really brightly, but not too bright to the point that it's overexposed. So let's see if we can dodge the moon. Definitely save a layer of what I have done. So I'm just using a dodge tool, a huge brush, to dodge the contrast of the moon out. Even though the moon can be like super like bright like that, we can also try something like having just a part of the moon glow, maybe just the edges of it, like here. So I would focus on I would focus on here, because there's area of rest here, versus if we dodge here. Right now our eye will be staring at this bright spot, which is also fine, but it makes no sense to have a moon that is bright in the middle and not as bright on the other part. At the end of the day, we want everyone, we want the audience to stare at the face. So keeping that part a little bit more subtle would be nice, and using the contrast around her body to show off her silhouette a little bit stronger. So something like that. I accidentally deleted the hair just now, so we brought it back. And right now we probably can like add some clouds. The artist of this painting is really smart because what he did is that when he add clouds, he designed it in a way that the cloud has some part that's lighter and some part that's darker, and our eye will be popping onto places that light hits, right? So our eye will be popping here, 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 right? So there's also a flow. It creates a flow like that into the painting, and that's actually intentional for the artist to do that. So what we also want is to create a flow similar to this piece. So if I were to add like clouds on my piece, we can definitely design some flow onto the clouds behind her. So if I have to add clouds, maybe you can start dapping some like the area maybe, and maybe here we want our eye to go back in to her. And I kind of like this line that we already have previously, and probably even some darker overcast of the cloud or overlapping cloud in front of the moon would help as well. So this way we are still sort of looking this way. The flow of the painting was still centered around her, and right now what we should draw like lines to connect the clouds that we added. So we draw a line. We draw, as in we have dots here, so the line should go like that, and then we also have line here. The line should go like that, so that creates a flow back to her. But what we right now lack is I feel that we lack a little bit of a angle that goes pointing like that, and maybe inwards like that. So perhaps adding a line here would be nice as well, and perhaps adding a little bit of light here would also help with the overall composition. At this point, I think we can just find a way to detail the background, but at the same time we want to not make it too detailed. So let's zoom in to see how this artist tackled on the cloud. He actually blurred the cloud a little bit, so that's what we can do as well. Yeah, let's paint this with a soft brush. This way we won't have like very jarring details on the environment. At this point, it's also better for me to look at real clouds, look at the cloud in the night sky, see if I can paint same. For clouds, right, there's actually some hue shift. So for example, the shadowy area can be a little bit warmer or cooler depending on the tone of the light. Right, so in this case, I choose something a little bit purplish on the shadowy side of the cloud. And the artist here also uses a different color for the moon itself. So since our moon is on another layer, perhaps we can just lasso the moon out and change the color a little bit. Find a color that suits this piece. I think a teal color would be very nice because teal goes really well with pink. So I think we can just keep it like that for now. I'm rendering the moon on a separate layer and the clouds on a separate layer. That way we have more control over the whole pieces. I'm just afraid that if we blend the tail color into the character, the color might look gray because tail and pink is slightly in a complementary color. Maybe we should be conservative and try out some other color instead. Maybe we can go back to blue, but slightly lighter blue. Yeah, at the end of the day, I don't want this character to be very gothic. I want her to look like a very elegant yet sexy character. So nothing red, nothing like a red moon, nothing really bloody or really gothic. Even though she can look good on red. I've done enough red pieces to know that she can, but I want to set a direction that she's not going to be gothic anyway. So I'm just like looking at how they render the clouds. Definitely not advisable to look at how other artists render clouds. We should always look at realistic references for clouds. But yeah, the one thing good about looking at how other artists do clouds is also how they would simplify the cloud to look better, because realistic cloud normally have hyper realistic detail, and in this case we don't want that to happen. Burn the background. Right now I'm trying to use color burn to shape the moon better by burning the excess away. It's not really working. Not really working. So I might have no choice but to do a lasso. And maybe we can set like a 15 pixel softness for the lasso. And right now, since I have made the moon on a separate layer, what we can also do is to make the soft edges around the moon with a glow. We can blur it, duplicate and blur it. And also set it to maybe overlay. And bump up the colors of blue. You can try different colors, see how it goes. Really, I still like the blue. Value check. I do like the value, but everything else is not as coming as well, not coming as nicely. Maybe we can add some colors to the cloud now, or maybe we can just play with some colors on the back layer. Also, one thing we can try is to, what if the moon is a crescent, just like this? Maybe be like that. We've never seen anyone done it before. I don't really like it, so let's move back on. Perhaps our cloud might be too big. As we can see from the references, the clouds are smaller in in sizes, and they have different sizes of cloud. Maybe our cloud needs to have some variation as well. So, don't forget our other references. We can always look at their color palette and try to use them as well. I somehow feel like we need a more desaturated sky to give the skin more allowance for the skin subsurface gathering. So at this stage, I'm just trying out big shapes of gradient to see if any of this will work. And this looks fairly nice in the sense that it does look like a studio lighting, and then there's a big orb behind her, and she took a photo while in a set. I kind of like the ambient I set here. So maybe adding the cloud in this situation would be nice. But so far our cloud is very messy. So we should try to reduce it a little bit. So we should delete the part that I think is not working. So for starter here, maybe here, like this part is very messy. Perhaps we don't even need like crazy cloud like that. And I kind of like these kind of big shapes that we have. Perhaps we can just add cloud like that. Cloud maybe like that. And this line is too straight and there's nothing to intersect it, so we can remove that, or we can actually soften the middle part. Our eyes sometimes will connect the dots for us, so instead of drawing one straight line, if we erase the middle, viewer's eye will still connect this line like that. So that's the one very cool and abstract thing about our eyes. The reason why I removed this part is also is because that I didn't want a straight line like that. So I love to have line like that and line like that instead of having a straight line. So that part could be more abstract and have more organic shape to aid our eyes. Yeah, at this point, just doing a lot of abstract shapes and trying to find the best possible composition for her. And we are slowly getting somewhere. Some of you can choose to use texture brush, but I try to refrain from using texture brush, especially for blurred background, because it will look too dense. But you can always try to do using texture brush, and then you will blur it later on. Yeah, just be careful that there is a lot of details with texture brush. So yeah, you might have problem trying to reduce the density or trying to get some clear shape in your silhouette. Oh yeah, texture brush generally do help in some sense. Yeah, for this case, I want to try to render it without texture brush. Control Y, flip, what if we scale down the moon? I have not tried it, so let's do it. What if the moon is here? Doesn't make sense. The moon can be scaled down and centralized at her head. Right now I would want to make some moon texture. So I know because I feel that the moon is too simple. I have some texture brush that we can use to make a moon texture. Yes, this is a very not so realistic pieces. We can definitely play with some interesting texture and colors in the moon. So notice how we right now have a very colorful and blue moon. What we can also do is to give it like a rainbow colors in the moon. This is just to test out. I'm not very sure if this will be the actual thing. Somehow my rainbow is gone, so perhaps we can use some iridescent. Iridescent is cool as well because there's many color that suits the moon. You can try some. This one have 3 to 4 colors, and I kind of like color it has. Working. Wait, 100%. Let's go. Oh, the green to the purple. I think that is pretty nice. And we can also do intense color shift by maxing that out. What if the moon is white? Will it be too strong? We could actually make it white, but we have to darken the character. And I kind of like the idea of the overexposed, which we want to get rid of this color here. So I'm just going to blur the background again. So we have already separated the moon. So we are fine to just simplify the background a little bit more. This is pretty nice. But what happened after we add the clouds? It gets very dirty. So should we set this to lighten instead? It doesn't work. We can also blur this. Gaussian blur, because at the end of the day, this is the detail is too strong. Let's take a look at this again. 3, 2, 3. Okay. So we have to. It seems like our cloud needs to be designed in a way that there is a big, medium, and small, and we need to have groups of clouds and flow of the cloud. So for now, I am going to remove parts that I think is useless or it's not helping the piece in any way. So this part will be gone and this part will be gone. So actually just by erasing, the piece is already looking better. But right now we can try something like an undercloud. So we have not have cloud that's below her. So we can try to do that as well. Yeah, a reference, there's a lot of things to learn from a good reference. And I'm actually learning a lot from looking at the reference as well. Try. I think the blue is a bit strong, so I'm going to desaturate it. And oh, and we don't forget about the tail. We have our tail. And at this point, I think we have a good base for the background. We can try to maybe darken the moon a little bit. Try different layer mode as well. Let's duplicate. Let's make the moon glow slightly bigger. Maybe hard light would be nice. I feel that there's a big void right here. So maybe we can like add some clouds here just to rest our eyes a little bit, because there's nothing to rest on here. So having a little bit of cloud here should be fine. Yeah, and we have a lot of line drawing us back into her, and that's a pretty good thing. I wonder if we should have some perspective where the cloud is pointing here. Maybe not. And I think that's it for the background. Obviously it still looks lacking because we don't have proper lighting. We on her we don't have a foreground, and we don't have particles to make the entire piece look slightly more bling bling. And we can also do, before I end the session, we can add a little bit of fog in front as well, just to make her feel a little bit more in the. And be careful, this I actually wanted to add like a backlighting here, but I realized this is the fog layer. We should also be aware that if I want to add a backlighting from the moon, it should be in a separate layer, because that is going to be hard light. And I believe that's it for the background lesson. We definitely still have many things to go through, but for now this is good enough for the lesson, and I'll see you guys on the next lesson. Bye bye.